All right, welcome back. And today we have a special guest. It's Brantford Bulldogs play-by-play voice Reed Duthie and Reed. We saw the Bulldogs last year in the playoffs in the first round. It was quite the exciting matchup between the Colts and the Bulldogs, and things have changed a little bit since we last saw you guys. Now playing in a new city.
Yeah, it's not often that we have a rematch when the team has changed location, but here we are. It's been awesome. This move to Brantford, the community has really gotten behind the Bulldogs. Tickets have been as hot as they could be. We've been packed in every night, standing room only. It's been a fantastic response. So the Colts are going to see a really energized Bulldogs team for the first meeting this season, and still a lot of members of last year's playoff team that might be looking for a little bit of a statement after winning back-to-back games last week as well.
Yeah, well, it's going to be exciting, and I know a lot of fans coming to the Sadlin Arena this weekend. They just want to see that. For some reason, this rivalry just keeps getting more intense as each year goes by.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that way. And the Colts have traditionally given the Bulldogs trouble as well. A couple of times in championship seasons where it seems like the Colts always play the Bulldogs tough, and then when the Colts, as we saw last year in the playoffs, were on a run themselves, the Bulldogs played them really tough. So I like the way that this rivalry is shaped up, and now it seems like both teams might be on somewhat of a similar path. Bulldogs got off to a little bit of a slow start, but after getting through a couple injuries and a suspension problem, things have really turned the corner against Oshawa and Owen Sound. And now you're starting to see a lot more of what this team can be with a lot of depth and scoring.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see how this team, the Bulldogs, like last year with the trade deadline, you did. There was a lot of those big trades to look to the future, but it just seemed as though that those trades it didn't slow down the Bulldogs at all. You guys were still humming along pretty good there going into the postseason.
That was the thing. I think a lot of people thought that, well, that's it. They're folding up the tent. You move Logan Morrison, you move Avery Hayes, you move Gavin White, Ryan Winterton, Ryan Humphrey, such big, crucial pieces to the 2022 OHL champions. And then a lot of the young guys got a chance to step up and into new roles, and they took it, they embraced it, and they've carried on with it. Lawson Shirk has shown that he is just about perfect as a captain. He competes 200 feet of the ice, does everything that you could ask of him. And then you get young guys like Nick Lardis stepping up, and Patrick Thomas, and Cole Brown, Merrick Van Acker, Jake O'Brien, the Bulldogs' first-round pick, has 6 points in 9 games. He's playing at 45-point pace, which would actually put him second all time in Bulldogs history for a 16-year-old rookie behind some guy named Kaliev. So off to a really, really good start. And we're just seeing that kind of roll start to get going for this young group. That's what has really made this so exciting. And the Colts, it seems like the same thing. A couple of guys make their exits onto the pro level. A couple of guys come in from essentially a pro level overseas, and the Colts just keep on going.
Yeah, oh, exactly. And it's even just it goes to show the franchise, this Bulldogs, the two championships since the move from Belleville and now moving to Brantford. So have you noticed from your position the move impacting the guys at all? Just trying to get used to the new city, going from Hamilton to the Brantford Civic Center?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't think it's affected in a negative way at all. I think it's been more so learning their new surroundings and learning about Brantford. It's a city that hasn't had OHL hockey in 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there hadn't been a whole lot of a reason for these guys to be out in the Brantford community up until this point. I think now that they have the opportunity to explore it, it's one of those places that feels like the biggest small town. Everybody knows each other, but it's still a pretty sizable city. I mean, there's both the Civic Center and the Gretzky Center in this town, both fantastic arenas. They've got a professional or a semi-professional baseball team in the Brantford Red Sox. So it's not like there's a shortage of things to do throughout the year. I think it's just a matter of everybody learning the surroundings and, of course, the job that was done in this building, the new dressing room and the players' lounge, and what our owner, Michael Landlauer, did to make this feel like home is really spectacular.
And you can kind of get the sense too from the mayor of Brantford just how giddy he was and the city just in general. Like I don't know how many videos he was posting during the summer, just the off season, the updates from what it used to look like to what the Civic Center looks now. So It just seems like everyone's on board there in Brantford.
Oh, Mayor Davis is just absolutely over the moon about what the Brantford Bulldogs have brought to this city, and really the excitement that they've brought, and everything that comes along with that. We love having him around. He has been a great partner for us. He's always happy to be in the rink. I think he's talked about that, how giddy he gets to come into the rink every time. We've seen pictures of him sitting in the stands watching the games. Every article that's put out, he's just glowing about what the Brantford Bulldogs and the city of Brantford can do together. So that's been a lot of fun to work with him and get to know him, especially in my role, getting to interview him a couple of times. He's a fun guy to be around. And when you have that kind of passion for it, you can tell he's a passionate hockey guy. It makes a big difference in terms of how the team feels here as well, when you've got the mayor coming in just to see how everybody's doing.
And have you noticed any Brantford Alexander memorabilia in the stands yet?
Absolutely. Yeah. The history of the Alexanders still runs deep here, and the fans still love it. So it's one of those things that we're really proud to carry on that tradition now. And in between the two as well, there was the Alexanders, who brought some great players through. I mean, Shane Corson at one point, part of the Alexanders. But then there was also the Brantford Smoke of the Colonial League. Rob Wilson, coach of the Petes, actually played for them. There was the Brantford Blast of the Allen Cup League, the Brantford Golden Eagles that were a junior A tier 2. So there's a rich history. Of course, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, I can't keep him out of the conversation. Rich hockey history in Brantford that goes beyond what the OHL has done here, that we are really happy to be following in.
And for you being in the broadcast booth, it must be quite the difference going from the First Ontario Center, when you're pretty high up in the rafters, to now, from the broadcast I've been watching so far out of Brantford, it seems like you're pretty close to the action now at the Civic Center.
Yep, very close. And it's a lot of fun. It's a great vantage point. As soon as I lean over the ledge where we're sitting right now, I'm in my office, which is also the broadcast booth. I'm looking right on top of the action. It's incredible, this vantage point. And in First Ontario Center, where you see it, you're way up in the sky. That's great. I mean, for a broadcast location, it's fantastic because you see the play developing, and you're not too close to it that you kind of lose it in the speed. Here you get a great mix of both. You can see the play develop, but you're close enough. You can read the names right off the players' backs. It's really cool to be at this spot. And this height above the ice is, I would say, almost perfect for an announcer.
And I think you might have one of the best offices now in the Ontario Hockey League, considering that's also the press box.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get any better than this. It makes it a lot of fun to come in every day, and I get to sit down, and as I'm working away on different things on the communication side or setting things up, I get to watch morning practice, and it just helps what I do so much, because I get a sense of what they're working on and what the lines are going to look like, and seeing how the guys are progressing while I'm doing all my regular office stuff. So that's really cool. That's not what I've ever had before. And I'm really enjoying it. You just gotta, you gotta bundle up a little bit up here, but that's all right. If that's the trade-off, I'm happy to sit in the coat.
Oh, that's amazing. So since you've now been in Brantford for a few months now, what's been the biggest surprise for you in the Telephone City?
I'm trying to think of surprise, because I grew up in the East End of Hamilton, so Brantford is not a stranger to me. I grew up a 25-minute drive. I think maybe the biggest surprise, and maybe it shouldn't be, but I think it was how quickly the fans have embraced not just the idea of OHL hockey coming back. We knew they were going to be excited about that, but how quickly they've embraced the team. If I'm out in the community and I'm wearing a Bulldogs jacket or a Bulldogs hoodie, I'll get stopped everywhere I go. And the fans are incredibly knowledgeable. Not just like, oh yeah, we were at the game the other night, it was great to see them win, blah, blah, blah. Like, they'll ask you about the players, this shift in particular, this play, this save. It's really fun to have a community and a fan base that is so invested in everything that this team is doing. That really has stood out and been something that at first it kind of caught me as, whoa, that's not what I expected out of this conversation.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. Like, I love that everybody feels like they're as invested as I am. in this Bulldogs team. That makes a huge difference to our players and to our community outreach as well when it's that give and take.
So with that in mind, it sounds like if this is just the start of the regular season, imagine what the playoff atmosphere is going to be like in Brantford.
Home opener when Florian Jackeye scored the first goal in this building for the Brantford Bulldogs. You could feel it shaking underneath your feet. Like
Oh,
it was a really, really awesome moment. When this building is packed in the spring and playoffs are going, I can't imagine how loud it's going to be, how exciting it's going to be. The fans are going to be just hanging off the rafters in this place. It's going to be so much fun.
well, I know the Barrie Colts, they don't head down to Brantford until second week of December. So I'm looking forward to making that trip and getting that full Brantford experience.
Oh, I can't wait to have you down here. I can't. I've been telling that to everybody around the OHL. We've had to retrofit it so that it's got some of the upgrades to it that you would have in a usual OHL arena, but at the same time, it's got that kind of old school charm to it. And those two things sort of meeting together, I'm so excited to be able to share that with all our colleagues around the league and show them what we've been able to do with a building that hadn't hosted OHL hockey since the mid 1980s and turn it into something now that everybody's kind of embracing, and everybody that's rolled through has kind of said, "Oh, this is pretty cool." I mean, especially considering the spot that the team was in, to have this now is really something else.
It sounds exciting, and can't wait to go down to Brantford, and also can't wait for this Saturday's game to see what we have in the next chapter of the Barrie Colts and Brantford Bulldogs rivalry.
Oh, let's go. Barrie and Brantford. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Again, another great season series. And if all the games are as close as they've been in the last couple of years, I mean, take away games 1 and 2 of the playoffs where the Colts just came out and barnstormed. The rest of that series was razor thin. The regular season meetings were all close. It felt like going back into 21, 22, and even before that. If we get those kind of quality games again at Sadlon Arena and at the Civic Center, oh man, the places are going to be rocking. The hockey's going to be fantastic, and it'll just be a joy to be a part of, as it usually is.
Oh, it's going to be great. And Reed, thanks for doing this, and can't wait to see you down at the next game.
Anytime, always a pleasure. Love to do it. Thanks so much for having me.
So that was Reed Duthie, the play-by-play voice of the Brantford Bulldogs. You can just sense the excitement from Reed, who gets to call the games on a regular basis with the Bulldogs. And as we mentioned, the Bulldogs will be in town for their first visits as the Brantford Bulldogs. Saturday night, puck drop is at 7:30. That game will be on Rogers TV. And also don't forget, the Barrie Colts hosting the Erie Otters Thursday night for their one and only visit. Puck drop for that game is 7 p.m. And you can also catch that game on Rogers TV. So if you enjoyed this sort of interview and video, be sure to hit like and subscribe for future notifications as we continue through the season. Have yourself a great day, guys.